My name's David Church. I'm a Professor of Medical Oncology and Cancer Research UK Senior Cancer Research Fellow at the University of Oxford. I treat people with bowel cancer in the clinic, and I run a research lab where we focus on ways to better treat and prevent cancers, including by vaccination. We spend most of our time as cancer doctors treating people with cancers that have developed and often spread. But actually, we know that before a cancer becomes a cancer, there's a long period when it's what we call a precancer. So there are abnormal cells that are developing, often for years or sometimes even decades before the cancer is diagnosed. It's at that stage, the precancer stage, that we think we can best prevent the disease. Let's take a look at how that works. The cells in our body are in constant communication with the immune system, letting it know that everything's okay. If everything is okay, it's as if they're holding a green flag, and the immune system leaves them alone. In precancerous cells, those cells which can change into cancer over years or decades, the flags can change. They can show, instead of a green flag, a red flag to the immune system. And we refer to that as a neoantigen. This signals to the immune system that things are not okay, and those red flags shown by those precancerous cells can be recognised by specialist immune cells we call T cells, which are capable of attacking and killing those precancerous cells. But the immune system's not always effective, and so sometimes it needs some encouragement to recognise the right red flags and attack the right precancerous cells. This is where vaccines can come in. Timing's really important here. When a precancer becomes a cancer, it becomes invisible to the immune system. That's why we think that going after precancer has more mileage than going after cancer, because we can train the immune system against these precancers before it becomes invisible to the immune system. The vaccine replicates the SEM4 messages, and so it trains the immune system to recognise those red flags shown to the immune system on the precancerous cells. So the immune system can better recognise and eliminate those precancerous cells showing these red flags. Such vaccines could be used to treat, or better, even prevent cancers such as lung cancer, bowel cancer, and hereditary cancers such as BRCA-associated breast and ovarian cancer, and those caused by a common condition called Lynch syndrome. This is Grace. Grace was diagnosed with womb cancer when she was only in her 30s, which she later discovered was caused by Lynch syndrome.
So I learned I had Lynch syndrome after my diagnosis of womb cancer, and I was diagnosed in an emergency situation, which was really scary. Cancer has a huge impact, and it tends to come in and upend everything from my career, my fertility, to long-term side effects. At the same time, I think I've learned so much about myself. I think it's just fundamentally changed how I am and how I exist in the world, I think. We had diagnosis of cancer in my generation, but also before that. My dad had bowel cancer when he was in his early 30s, and even the generation before who had cancer incredibly young, so early 30s onwards really. We hadn't actually thought that maybe womb cancer was also a sign of Lynch syndrome. My understanding of Lynch syndrome is that it's a deficiency in my DNA in terms of cell repair that makes me more likely to have certain cancers. The cancer treatments that I had were prolonged over several years. The traditional chemotherapy and radiotherapy and surgery. My world became quite small in that time, being really tired, being at increased risk of infection, some of the other less pleasant and talk about side effects that come with radiotherapy if And then fairly soon after that, I had a relapse and I went through another surgery, and I had 2 years of an immunotherapy. So actually of my life, that's a huge chunk actually. I'm 36 now, it's been my entire 30s that I've been living with cancer. In terms of the potential of vaccines, the fact that you could potentially intervene well before anyone even has the symptoms. For me, that was like before I lost my fertility, before I had to take a year and a half of a career break, and before I ended up with the side effects that come with cancer treatment, and hopefully preventing having to go through the disruption and go through the emotional and physical challenges of cancer treatment.
Of course, our hope is that in the future, people like Grace won't be diagnosed with womb cancer because we can prevent it effectively with vaccination. But we can't do research into vaccination without funding. And so that's where organisations like Cancer Research UK come in. I've come to meet with Danny to talk to her about CRUK's role in funding vaccine and cancer research, and also to talk about the implications of vaccination in healthcare and society more broadly. Well, hi Danny, it's really nice to meet you, and thank you very much for making the time to speak to me.
Lovely to see you too.
I'm interested in hearing from you on how Cancer Research UK are reacting to the increase in cancer that we see in the UK and globally.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we are making progress. Back in the 1970s, it was about 1 in 4 people who'd survived the disease for 10 years or more. Now we're at 2 in 4, so we are making progress. But at the moment, cancer rates are increasing. In the UK, almost 400,000 people are diagnosed with cancer each year. So we spend around £400 million a year on cancer research. Our research strategy focuses on 4 themes, and one of those is prevention.
Yeah, it makes very good sense. And in terms of cancer prevention, there are obviously many aspects that can take, but one aspect, as you'll know from our work, is the role of vaccination there.
We think it's very important that we support people to make behavioural changes, lifestyle changes. Vaccines also offer this really innovative way to kind of teach the body to clear cancer before it even starts. And at the moment, we are funding 3 of these preventative vaccines. As you know, we're funding your Lynch development, we're funding a vaccine to prevent lung cancer, and a vaccine to prevent ovarian cancer, all in people who are at really high risk of the disease.
And one thing that we hear a lot about, or read a lot about in the general press, is vaccine hesitancy.
I think things like this conversation with you now are a great example of how we're trying to be open about the research we're doing. We're trying to explain the science so people can understand how these vaccines work, what's going on inside the body, and really see the potential. And I think by being open, people will come on board.
Rather than focusing on late-stage cancers where they've developed and even spread, we would like to take a longer view, focusing on pre-cancers which develop, as we've said, over years or even decades, using the immune system's natural defences. And we hope that by training the immune system through vaccination, we can eliminate these and prevent them from becoming cancers and affecting millions of people as they do at the moment in the UK and all around the world. For more information, follow the links in the description.